The Liberal Party of Canada is in shambles. Turn on the lights, watch the cockroaches scatter. Of course, they're asking Canadians, who should be the next Liberal leader? A better question might be, who cares? Ladies and gents, welcome back. Happy Monday. We're going back to the land of the working. Now, Canada is in limbo at the moment. We're in a state of limbo where we have the Prime Minister who has given his intention to resign, who hasn't actually resigned. He's still the interim Prime Minister until such time that the Liberals figure out what they're doing and bring in a new leader. Now, in the process of this time, we all have to wait. We all know where this is going. The Liberals won't be in power for much longer, but they're just dragging this out at a time where we should be concentrating on, I don't know, perhaps trade relations with the United States of America, but that's not how we're gonna go. Now, here's Trudeau just last week at this time making his big announcement.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Yes, and the whole country is just really excited to go through that process. That's exactly what we're waiting for. Now, Pierre Poilievre in a press conference last week expressed this: it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you bring on. It's just going to be another Justin Trudeau.
And so, right before an election, the Liberal MPs want to elect another Justin Trudeau who has a different face. They're all Justin Trudeau. They're all just like Justin. In the next election, I will be running against Justin Trudeau.
That's true. And it doesn't matter what they do. They were all supporting Trudeau. Every one of them that's in there is somehow like Justin Trudeau. But at the end of the day, the question really is, who cares what the third running party has as a leadership? We don't care. It looks like the Conservatives are going to completely take the House. It's done. It's done. I mean, it's been decided. It's at the point where the Liberals are polling so poorly, they're behind the Bloc Québécois. We're looking at a new government after we finally do get our say and have an election in Canada where, Quebec doesn't want the Liberals. Ontario doesn't want the Liberals. Those are the two main voting blocks. And it looks like the Maritimes and the rest of Canada don't want the Liberals. We shouldn't even care who their leader is. We should go into a general election and then just say, okay, figure out who your leader is afterwards. We want to move on. And this is the real situation here in Canada. Now, for sake of interest, let's look into some of these people who are saying they want to be the Liberal leader. Andrew Scheer put out a great video showcasing a few of them.
Let's take a couple of minutes, run through the early frontrunners for the Liberal leadership and explain how they would be exactly the same as Justin Trudeau.
Now, the video is great, and I want to leave a link in the description down below so you can go watch the video in its entirety. But we're just going to go over some of the talking points, the main talking points for this. Now, one of the main contenders that's been spoken about is Mark Carney, well-known World Economic Forum guru, and the guy who's been largely behind a lot of the economic policies of the Liberals over the last 10 years nonetheless. And he is the architect behind the idea of the carbon tax. That's right. He's always been for it. For Canada, by the way. Not necessarily for other places where his money might be. Put your money where your mouth is, Mark Carney. And Andrew Scheer points this out here.
You might wonder, where did Justin Trudeau get all these terrible ideas? For example, to put a cap on Canadian energy production, meaning we can't sell our clean and ethical oil and gas to our trusted allies around the world. Well, it comes from Mark Carney. Mark Carney attends these fancy cocktail circuits at the WF in Davos, and he comes back to Canada and he preaches how we have to leave our natural resources in the ground while he chairs an investment company that actually invests in energy projects around the world.
The world has to do. We can't get there unless We do not just have a cap on emissions, but those emissions are
For the
brought
world, hey?
effectively to zero.
Do you support the Prime Minister's decision to veto the Northern Gateway pipeline, Mr. Carney?
I understand the veto of the Northern Gateway pipeline.
You support it?
Given both environmental and commercial reasons.
Do you support it?
I think it was sensible. I wasn't involved in the decision, but I think it was the right decision.
And yet your company has invested billions of dollars in oil companies in both Brazil and the UAE to buy pipelines. You bought billions of dollars of pipelines as a company in the last 5 years. Do you support those investments?
Mr. Poilievre, there is a global energy system, and one of the issues...
So clearly...
Yeah, one of the issues is I need to make money, and, well, we don't need to make money in Canada. Now, moving on, who else is runner-up or running for this position? Well, none other than the wicked witch of the WEF herself, Chrystia Freeland. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little bank account too. That's right. She's in it for the win, and she's, she bailed on Trudeau last minute, just before announcing how much money we're gonna owe because of her finance ministerial powers that she's been doing over the past 9 years. And, well, again, Andrew Scheer pointing a lot of this out.
She hiked the carbon tax. She ran through an already insane $40 billion deficit guardrail and brought in a $60 billion deficit. And she only refused to present that mini budget herself when she found out that she was going to be demoted right afterwards. It had nothing to do with principle. It had nothing to do with a disagreement of policy. It was all ego.
Hey, but you know what? If you just cancel that Disney Plus account, you might be able to get through this stuff and get yourself one of them rotisserie chickens. She'll always be remembered as the Disney Plus rotisserie chicken lady. That's all we got. And her squeaky Mr. Squeaker. That's it. Now, moving on, we also have Chrystia Clark. What's her name? Christy Clark. Why am I blanking on that? Why? Because perhaps she looks more like Canadian Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry. I think the world's had enough of this, but this is where we're at in Canada. And Andrew Scheer pointing out just how bad she'd be because, well, she's the architect behind, well, the Canadian carbon tax being implemented as she was premier of British Columbia. Yeah, she brought that stuff to us out here on the West Coast and wants more of it.
Christy Clark implemented a carbon tax in British Columbia and even criticized Justin Trudeau because she said that his carbon tax wasn't high enough.
BC Premier Christy Clark is not only singing the praises of her carbon tax, but is saying that she may increase it because it is so effective.
For us, if there was a next step, and we're not there yet, that's where we would go.
Increase the carbon tax.
Well, it's worked. It's worked. That's the thing about it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Canada's parliament
has it ever worked? That's right. It's working. Go check your bank account. Go check just how much money you've spent on fuel if you live in British Columbia. By the way, the whole scheme with getting money back from carbon taxes. Yeah, if you're in British Columbia, you're exempt from it. You don't get anything back. The price on pollution and bringing in getting a more whatever they're trying to do with that scheme there, we don't get anything. We got nothing thanks to Christy Clark, and that's where that is. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. These are the front runners for the Liberal Party leadership, and whoever wins that will be Prime Minister for days and days and days until we get our actual election. Because as soon as Parliament comes back, we know the first thing that's going to be on the table is a non-confidence vote, and we'll be going right into an election. So at the end of the day, what does it matter? What does it matter? Who cares who's the Liberal Party leader? And I know I've heard a lot of them don't want to even put their money into this because who wants to spend that kind of money to go through a political race only to be voted out day one? Anyway, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.